NCAA champion. Touchdown, Georgia. North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
It's a special holiday edition, Week 16 in the NFL.
Well, there's LaShawn McCoy. A couple weeks ago, he went for 15 carries, 93 yards against the New England Patriots. He needs a big day today for them to win this game.
And there's Tom Brady. Last time they played Buffalo 3 weeks ago, he was sacked 3 times, hit 5 times. Got to avoid a letdown to keep that #1 seed.
And there's Alex Smith. He was almost Alex Trebek because the team was in jeopardy, but they controlled their own destiny. 25 TDs, 5 interceptions. We'll see what happens today versus Miami.
Hey, there's the big guy at 6'2", 320. You know, I'll tell you what he's doing. He's trying to figure out what a catch is like everybody else is in the NFL these days. He usually has a big day on this day. Look forward to that.
Stand by to move right. Ready, 1? Take 1. Stand by to bring it back. Take 4.
Record on 43.
3, 2, 1.
And hello, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I'm James Brown. We have a festive lineup full of pivotal matchups with playoff implications coming your way right here on CBS. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski continue to dominate defenses across the NFL land, and the Patriots 1-2 punch, hoping to knock the Bills off their path towards the playoffs when they face off in Foxborough. And, you know, it looks as if the Chiefs have figure things out after their midseason swoon. And today, Alex Smith and company will try to stay atop the AFC West when the Dolphins come to town. No 2 quarterbacks have been hotter this December than Blake Bortles and Jimmy Garoppolo. They'll meet this afternoon on CBS as the Jags try to stay in the hunt for one of the AFC's top 2 seeds. Baltimore's win yesterday moved them into the AFC playoff picture as the wild card and the #5 seed. New England, the top seed, and controls its own destiny for home field throughout the playoffs. Pittsburgh fighting for the 2 seed and a first-round bye. Jacksonville can clinch the South with a win or a Tennessee loss, and Kansas City can claim the West with a win today. Tennessee, by the way, is the other wild card. Meanwhile, in the NFC, Minnesota, with its win over Green Bay last night, remains the 2 seed and in play for a first-round bye. Top seed Philadelphia would clinch home field throughout the playoffs with a win tomorrow night. The Rams claim the West crown with a win or a Seattle loss. And the winner of today's New Orleans-Atlanta game clinches a playoff berth. Carolina holds the other wild card and controls its own postseason destiny. All that and more comes your way on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines, as we welcome you inside Studio 43. I'm joined at the desk by our so-called jolly football experts. They will be not so jolly Phil Simms and the jolly coach Nate and Boomer. Of
it's
course,
Christmas, and you took a shot at me.
Hey, no, I didn't. That's a loving compliment for you, partner. Anyway, the Ravens held on to beat the Colts on Saturday. They're in control of their playoff destiny.
You know, they really are. And I think about what's going to happen here today is everything in the NFC revolves around the NFC South, right, guys? You got to look at Carolina. They win, they're in. The winner of the Atlanta-New Orleans game gets in. Over in the AFC, it's really about, you know, can the Chargers get to 9-7? Can Tennessee win one of their final 2 games? And you take a look at these schedules, how they match up. Looks like Baltimore is going to get in because I do believe they'll beat the Bengals next week. They'll get to 10-6. It's going to be a wild finish here the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was always told by my coaches in December, you got to play the right way at the right time, and that's what the Ravens did. We have some examples of that. Check this out. Special teams. This is huge because if you can play that X-factor football, which is offense, defense, and special teams like you saw, but here it is. You got to make a stop. Frank Gore, the soon-to-be Hall of Famer down the line, he's putting them in position. Jacoby Brissett trying to make a play, and on the 4th down, Maurice Kennedy, he makes the play, gets the pass breakup, and this is why they're playing special, Coach. At the right time, they can run the ball. They play great defense, special teams, and coming up big in big moments.
You talk about they've won 5 of their last 6, and the one loss they had was a walk-off field goal by the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. And like you said, they got a running game with Alex Collins. They got defense that leads the league in takeaways. And Joe Flacco right here, he's been playing his best football. He's 10-5 in the postseason. Remember, for Joe Flacco in Baltimore, they are 2-2 in the playoffs in New England. They've got playoff experience, Phil. They're playing hard at the right time. And you know what? The running game and defense, they travel well.
Why are you yelling? Because you know I'm
getting excited.
Hey, listen, I'm not being the Grinch, but settle down there, fellas. You know, let's think about what the Baltimore Ravens have done this year. They're 0-5 against potential playoff teams. So that's one thing. And then you talk about Joe Flacco. He is playing well. 29 completions last night for 237 yards. No explosive plays on the offensive side. And on the defensive side, it's really the same thing. Indianapolis gives up sacks like Boomer eats candy bars. I mean, they could not get pressure on Jacoby Brissett almost all night long. I think that's a problem.
How you doing, Phil?
That's it. I'm feeling good, man. How you doing?
What kind of holiday spirit is this? Let's kick things off on our early game matchups on the NFL today. Right now, Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski. That's one of the most potent combos in the league. And who knows better about the quarterback-tight end connection than our own Tony Romo, who is in Foxborough. By the way, he completed 649 passes to his favorite target. That will be Jason Witten. So what makes the Brady-Gronk combo so special, Tony?
Well, first off, they're both unique talent, you know, at their position. They're really, really just good at their spots. I mean, Tom Brady has a recognition of defenses and understanding of where to go with the ball, and then Gronkowski is a matchup nightmare. He can line up outside the numbers, he lines up inside, and really, and you guys just put the graphic up, the last two games, he's been really unguardable. These teams have tried to play him man-to-man, and that's the biggest matchup for the New England Patriots on every possession. If Tom sees him one-on-one, the ball's going to Gronk. It's what you do when you have a great receiver on the outside. They do the same thing with a tight end. You know, and Jason Witten, for me, any big crucial moment, he was getting the football on 3rd and 5 to move the chains, because I knew where he would be versus that coverage all the time. Gronk, he does the same thing, and Tom trusts him.
Hey, Tony, before you leave, any suggestions for how you deal with wild teammates? My guys here in the studio, what would your suggestion be?
You know, first thing I would look for just replacing all of them, and if that didn't work... If that didn't work, then I would probably just go ahead and accept that they're probably your best friends and enjoy it.
Oh, I've got some best friends. Hey, Tony, thank you so very much. We're looking forward to your call of the game. All right, so there's an awful lot on the line for the playoff-hungry Bills in this match.
No, you talk about a lot on the line. How about for Tyrod Taylor? Now, look, they got the worst passing offense in football due to the numbers. Now, they also played one game in a blizzard, so I understand that that had a negative impact on those numbers. But this young man right there, it's always a referendum for him as to whether or not he can lead his team into the playoffs. You want to be the big-time quarterback for the Bills, you got to win a game like this on the road.
Yeah, Boom, and talking about leading your team in the playoffs. How about Tom Brady, though? Check out these numbers. First 11 games, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Last 3 games, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions over the last 3 games. And keep in mind, Boom, you talked about this when we were off camera. No Burkhead, no James Wright. Gillislee will be active in this game. But we're talking about that Achilles a little bit ago. And could that be the problem, Tom Brady having some inconsistencies with throwing the ball? But still, 27 wins up against Buffalo. That's most against any opponent in NFL history. So you got to give the advantage to the Patriots.
No question about this. The Chiefs are looking to keep their momentum rolling towards an AFC West title as they take on the Dolphins.
And that happens today, JB, if they can beat the Miami Dolphins at home, which means nothing at stake if they go to Denver next week and maybe rest some players. But they've gotten back to winning 2 games in a row. That man right there, Alex Smith, is playing well, but Kareem Hunt has been rushing well. And Tyreek Hill right there has been 9 receptions and 1 touchdown in these 2 games that they've won in a row. And Marcus Peters, the defense the last 2 weeks, 7 takeaways. They've only given up 28 points. So right now, I would say the Kansas City Chiefs look like the Kansas City Chiefs earlier in the season and are playing hot at the right time of year.
So everything is postseason focused, and that means the Chargers are another team in need of wins to keep their postseason hopes alive.
Well, there's Phillip Rivers. He got some bad news today. His left tackle, Russell Okung, is out. Why is that important? Well, he needs protection and time to throw it down the field. Didn't get it against the Kansas City Chiefs, and what happened? He threw 3 interceptions. His best players, of course, are the 3 wide receivers. We'll see. The Jets rush the passer pretty well when they're at home. And on the other side, Bryce Petty making his 2nd start for the New York Jets. Played solid against the New Orleans Saints last week. And on the Jets defense, 2 guys that I have to mention. Demario Davis, Darren Lee, 2 linebackers. Between the 2 of them, over 200 tackles this year and 8 sacks. Really doing a great job.
Not having a key blocker reminds me of the Boomer Esiason story when one of his backup linemen, Mr. Esiason said, I can't block. Reggie White.
That's right.
Hey, what's happening around the league? We welcome in our NFL Today insider. That will be Jason Lockenfor. Jimmy GQ has a big payday coming.
That he does, JB. You can start calling him the $25 million man. That's what Garoppolo will make on the franchise tag or per year on a long-term deal. The 49ers baffled many around the league by not trying to sign him as soon as they acquired him. Now they're prepared to tag him, which they almost certainly will have to do. The Vikings are in a similar spot with Case Keenum. Minnesota has no QBs under contract for 2018. Some rival GMs believe the Vikings will place the transition tag on Keenum, who could approach $20 million a year on a short-term deal. The Steelers' release of all-time sacks leader James Harrison could be an early Christmas present to other teams. Baltimore and New England are among the clubs considering claiming the pass rusher, league sources said. And the sale of the Panthers should be complete prior to the start of next season. The sale price will likely reach $2 billion, but not $2.5 billion, as some are suggested. Sources said Jerry Richardson, who assumed that the NFL's investigation would stop when he sold the team. Well, JB, that's not the case.
I hear you. Hey, Jason, thank you so much.
All right, how about Ryan Kerrigan? Read this signed by a fan. All I want for Christmas is to meet Ryan Kerrigan. Ryan Kerrigan, of course, goes over there. Makes you think of the Coca-Cola Mean Joe Green commercial. Now, watch this young man's reaction. He's crying. He just met his hero.
That's awesome.
That's a memory that will last a lifetime, and it was made on Christmas Eve.
That's great.
Coming up on a holiday edition of the NFL Today, LaShawn McCoy has been dashing through the snow to get on Santa's nice list, and he's hoping to deliver playoff joy to Buffalo and its fans. A December chill is in the air, but it hasn't stopped Blake Bortles and Jimmy Garoppolo from lighting up NFL secondaries all month long.
Garoppolo pointing to the end zone, throws, caught, touchdown!
The NFC playoff picture is still cloudy, but things could clear up a bit today as two contenders face off and another gets some help from their returning star. Find out who the guys think will be in for a Merry Christmas and who might get cold in their stockings when the NFL Today returns. The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cousins of the Washington Redskins, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
I'm Jamal Adams with the New York Jets, and I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
I'm C.J. Anderson, running back of the Denver Broncos. I just want to wish you guys all out there a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays.
Players are in a festive mood and sharing their holiday wishes. Meanwhile, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady has been historically good in December, but he did have a little hiccup in this game this December as he gets ready for the Bills. Two other quarterbacks who are having a lot of success this month, they'll square off this afternoon, and they are the subject of this week's edition of the NFL Before Today.
We need a miracle! The touchdown pass by Bortles.
Bortles was having a monster game.
Touchdown, Jacksonville.
Was that ball not thrown on the money?
75-yard touchdown from Blake Bortles. Is this guy planning on scoring?
Blake throws it on the dime.
Holy cow.
Bortles is taking care of the football.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are headed to the playoffs. Out comes Jimmy Garoppolo. Touchdown 49ers.
Jimmy Garoppolo makes it look easy.
Garoppolo pointing to the end zone. Throws, caught, touchdown. Jimmy G in control. There's a terrific throw by Garoppolo. They're hoping it's the beginning of a long run with Garoppolo as their starting quarterback.
And it surely has been a December to remember for both Bortles and Garoppolo. Blake has turned up his play and helped lead the Jags into the playoffs for the first time in 10 years, while Jimmy G has started and sparked the Niners to 3 straight wins. And that leads us to Who Are You 11, presented by McDonald's new, as Barbara Cellino says, McCafe Espresso. Coach and Phil with more.
Yeah, JB, you talk about Blake Bortles the first 3 months, Phil, a lot of inconsistencies. But what have you seen this last month that's been encouraging to you?
Tremendous transformation. That's what I've seen. Confidence and aggression. Very aggressive in his decision-making. And just watch how accurate he is throwing the football. Right. Easy to pick out these plays. He drops back. You got a crosser. Keelan Cole. Look, he finds the window, drops his arm down. And the big thing, he hits him in stride to get extra yards after the catch. That's what you notice in all these last 3 games, especially. Here's another play. Blake Bortles looks down the middle, doesn't like it, looks to his left, nobody open. moves in the pocket, and then once again, Jaden Mickens across the middle. What? Very tight window, accurate throw. And here we go. Wants to throw it to number 85 in the slot. He gets double teamed. So wait, he holds onto the football. Safety comes up. And what does he do? He finds Keelan Cole in the back of the end zone, right on target, once again, while he was taking a very big hit. Now I got a quiz for you. Here we go, Coach.
Yeah,
look at last week,
Cole.
186 yards. What he did, terrific stuff. Rookie. What college did Keelan Cole go to?
Clemson?
Clemson?
No.
No, you got to know these things.
I don't know these.
Kentucky Wesleyan.
Kentucky Wesleyan.
Now, the bad thing about this is I grew up in Kentucky, and I didn't know they played football at Kentucky Wesleyan. That's bad.
Well, listen, you talk about that side of the ball, but on the other side of the ball, you're talking about a defense that has been suffocating. You're talking about number 1 in sacks, number 1 in points allowed, number 2 in takeaways. You watch it right here. Yannick Ngakoue, you're going to see him right here. The ability to stay in a good motor. You can see it right now. He's got 6 forced fumbles on the year. Leads the National Football League. Tight coverage on the back end. Calais Campbell picks this up, and they score on the defensive side of the ball. You talk about playing bump, then they play off. You're talking about 2 of the best corners in the league, Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Boye, Barry Church is back there. You can see right now the pressure they can put in the middle, the ability with the long arms right here of Jalen Ramsey. This is against Antonio Brown earlier in the season. You can see him get the ball hands in there, knocks it out. They don't just take the ball away, they score with it. You're talking about a special defense that has gotten this team to this point, a good running game, and now you got the play of that quarterback. This could be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
You know, that whole defense, you could talk about any part you want. Just think about their linebackers, Telvin Smith, Miles Jack, and then Paul Puzzlesney. They might be the fastest group of linebackers in the NFL.
It's a fast defense, no doubt. You're talking about they're going against a quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, who let's talk a little bit more about. Let's go to JB, Boomer, and Nate.
All right, Coach, and it looks like the 49ers may have found their quarterback of the future.
You think it might be the heist of the year when you think about what it took to get him, a second-round draft choice from the Patriots. Here's the thing. I was telling Nate, you take a look at some of these numbers. He's 5-0 as a starter. Obviously, 2 of those are with the Patriots. 13 out of their last 16 possessions they have scored on. Oof. But I will say today, as Coach and Phil just pointed out about the defense that they're playing, this is going to be a real test for this young man. He is definitely the future. There's no question about it. He's brought a stability there. He's brought a confidence there. His teammates basically have just been talking about how enamored they are with the way that he carries himself and the way that he prepares for the next team.
That's right. You mentioned stability, and that's just it. Kyle Shanahan, this offense, you can work on everything else when you have the foundation. He is going to be the foundation of the future, but let's not get too excited. Time will tell. There's other quarterbacks that have left that nest underneath Tom Brady, Matt Castle, Brian Hoyer, and Mallett. They've had up and downs career. Brissett, of course, with the Colts, he's played well. But right now is the time for them to kind of solidify their quarterback, which is this young quarterback, Jimmy G.
So the team reaction to this kid has been what you guys like
thumbs up. It's been perfect, yes.
All right, hey, and don't forget that you can see our guy, the game show host, Nate, on Good Morning Football weekday mornings on NFL Network. And a reminder, a special Christmas Day edition of football that comes your way tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern, with an AFC matchup between the North Division champion Steelers and the Texans.
And there's the GOAT right there, Tom Brady. Listen, Jay-Z said 30 is the new 20. I say 40 is the new MVP. He leads the league in yards and also completions.
Time now to go inside the pregame HQ delivered by Domino's. You know, back in their Week 13 matchup, Gronkowski uncharacteristically leveling a vicious hit on a defenseless Tre'Davious White, the Bills' rookie cornerback, put into concussion protocol as a result, while Gronk was suspended for just 1 game.
You know, and according to Tre'Davious White, he has not received an apology from Rob Gronkowski, as you see right there on the right. But Tre'Davious White has had a tremendous season, a great secondary for the Buffalo Bills. One of the reasons why, you know, you got to wonder whether or not they can hold down Gronkowski in this particular game.
All right, boom, and there's LaShawn McCoy getting ready for his AFC East showdown with the Patriots today. The Bills, all-purpose back, having another outstanding year, adding to what has already become a pretty impressive resume.
They give it to Shady, driving up the middle inside the 30, and there it is, 10,000 yards plus for Shady.
It's an honor to reach 10,000 yards. I think the whole way through I had great linemen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Guys have made it in front of me. I've looked up to Barry Sanders for years. I mean, that's the guy I try to pattern my game like. I remember when he retired, I cried to my mom, like, Mom, Barry's retiring. She's like, Barry? you know, and she found out who he was. And just, hey, I'm going to keep going, man, and 10,000 is cool. You know, my goal was to get to 12,000 yards, and that's what I'm going to do.
I've never seen a game with worse conditions in Buffalo than the one they're about to play.
Just playing in the snow is so fun. I can't really tell you why I do well in the snow. I just, something that just happens.
McCoy into the end zone, and Buffalo wins it.
Well, here and there, I'll slip a little bit, but majority of the time, I'm just cutting on a dime and running. I'm using my same shake moves as if the ground was clear. I always loved the snow growing up, and I would always play in the snow. We would get school canceled. You know, I'll be out there playing football with the guys. So just something I've loved to do since I've been a kid. But it's not one thing I can really put my finger on to say why I can run in the snow. I just love to do it. Just giving back to the community, giving back to the kids is very important to me because to have two parents that was excellent for me. Before I had any money, before I was a pro athlete, when I was in high school, my mom, she would adopt families and we would give them gifts. You know, we would talk to them and to see the excitement on the kids' faces. That was kind of the experience that I got that let me know that, hey, this is the right thing to do. Football is so important to me. We're trying to make the playoffs. We got a big week. Well, just to be honest, I think every team that plays the Patriots, it's a big week for them. I love to play them guys because it's one of them games where it's a big-time game. You got to pick your game up. Beating Tom Brady is not easy at all. So we'll have our hands full, and it's a division game, so they're always tough. And this is a big game because of the playoffs. And we got to take care of business. We got to go to New England and get a win. Simple as that.
Well, no doubt it's a big game for McCoy and the Bills, who are now on the outside looking in at the playoff picture. The Chargers still in play, as are the Raiders and the Dolphins, but they need a lot of help. They're all chasing the squads at the top of the conference: New England, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville.
You know, I think you're looking at New England and Pittsburgh. You got to avoid that emotional letdown. Talked about the game of the year last year, and then you're talking about now Buffalo coming in last week. Buffalo coming in, it's a divisional opponent right here for Brady. You know, they got sacked 3 times last time against Buffalo, only 1 interception. Gronkowski had a huge game last week. We'll need another big one this week. And then Pittsburgh's going to be playing this week without Antonio Brown for the first time, going down to Houston tomorrow on Christmas Day. You got to avoid that letdown of that next game, and because Jacksonville is just waiting for an opportunity to jump into that 1st or 2nd seed.
Yeah, they're waiting, and I'll tell you, they're playing some really good football. Their offensive line as the year has gone along. Jacksonville, it's gotten much better. What a shock. Doug Marrone, an ex-offensive lineman, player, and a coach. But Jacksonville, what really has caught my attention is the way they're playing. In other words, more formations, more plays for Blake Bortles, more diverse. And why are they doing this? Well, they're thinking about the playoffs, because when it gets to the playoffs, sooner or later, Jacksonville, as good as they are in defense, as good as they run the football, you're going to have to throw it to win, and they're doing a great job with Blake Bortles.
And, Phil, you know this all too well. NFC South rivals Atlanta and New Orleans. They clashed in a big showdown with a playoff berth on the line. Another South team, Carolina, they're in with a win. Dallas and Seattle, who face off today, along with Detroit, they're still in the mix. The Cowboys get a boost with the return of Ezekiel Elliott from suspension. So the question is, how do you see it all playing out?
Well, I know one thing. All those 8-6 teams, the Cowboys, Seahawks, and Lions, are hoping that the Atlanta Falcons lose today at New Orleans. The winner of that game will get into the playoffs, and if Carolina wins, they will be in the playoffs. So really the only chance that those teams have is if the Falcons lose today in New Orleans. And the Falcons are playing some of their best football, but as long as Alvin Kamara is back on the field for the New Orleans Saints, I love their chances today against the Falcons.
Yeah, I'll have my eyes on the Seahawks and Cowboys game. You know, even though the Seahawks seem to be getting weaker and weaker, they're going to have something to play for, but as they get weaker, the Cowboys get stronger. Ezekiel Elliott back on the field, and it's not a concern if he's going to be in great shape. He will be in great shape. It's more about how high will he get, because he's been on the sideline, been on vacation, he's been working out. You're going to have to calm him down a little bit, but still a 20% chance of these guys getting in. They're going to need some help for some other teams going into today's game.
All right, hey, Nathan, we'll keep the conversation going here, but with kickoff just about a half hour away, time now to set the scene at your game as we take you out first on the field with the latest news and updates on your matchup. And later this afternoon, Blake Bortles leads the Jags into the Bay Area to take on Jimmy Garoppolo, back Garoppolo, and the Niners. That comes your way at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. I was about to say Jimmy GQ, right here on CBS. And the head coaches, Doug Marrone and Kyle Shanahan. You know what? They've had varying levels of success in the first year with their respective teams.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Kyle Shanahan. He's won his last 3. He might be found his quarterback of the future, trending very well, some momentum for next year. And for Doug Marrone, honestly, what he's done is he's an offensive line coach, became a head coach. Todd Wash, his defensive coordinator, was a defensive line coach. This is a Jacksonville team led by Doug Marrone, who they win games by winning the line of scrimmage. They want to have this game be played in the trenches and apply their physicality, and that's the personality of their coaches. Yeah. That's the personality of their teams.
Working great. I'm going to talk about Kyle Shanahan a little bit, about what he's done as a coordinator, as a head coach out there in San Francisco. Remember years ago, he was down in Houston. He had Matt Schaub throwing to Andre Johnson, and they were setting the world afire. Then what's he do? He goes to Washington, and he has RG3 and creates a whole new offense that worked for him. And now look what he's doing out in San Francisco, a mixture of New England's offense with his and Jimmy Garoppolo having great success.
Yeah, Doug Marrone, for me, has to be consideration of coach of the year. I've talked to some guys on that starting defense, and I said, but, what's going on with all that chippiness? What is your coach saying about it? And usually, old school coaches say, I don't need you talking. But he said to these young guys, you can talk as long as you back it up, and they've been doing it all season.
The thing about, when I think about Kyle Shanahan, he also had the MVP, Matt Ryan, last year in Atlanta. Look what happened to the offense when he left. But here's the thing. Tom Coughlin, executive of the year. Doug Marrone, not coach of the year. That goes, I believe, to Sean McVay of the LA Rams.
And they can only hope to have the success of this man. How about this, Bill Belichick? 9 straight AFC East championships. Has won AFC East since he's been in New England, 15 out of 18 years. Pretty special.
You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
I'm ready for you.
The Dolphins were in the spirit of the holiday season this past week. Players and coaches purchased gifts to give out to local area students. That during a fun-filled day of activities, cheer, and goodwill at the team's annual holiday toy event. Fans in and around stadiums across the country, they're getting into the Christmas mood as well. Some are even hoping for a postseason gift while anxiously awaiting Santa's arrival in less than 12 hours for those on the East Coast, because after all...
'Twas the night before Christmas, some dreaming of long layoffs. But the best of the bunch were looking forward to playoffs. The Patriots and Eagles had more reason to boast, both hoping to be 2 week-long hosts. When out on the field there arose such a clatter, the Steelers were playoff-bound, though some decisions did matter. Away to the stadium I did not lag. The Vikings were in, so was this Jag. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but Chiefs, Rams, and Saints that were oh so near. The fans were excited for each and every game, and Santa whistled and shouted and called out players by name. Now Alshon, now Le'Veon, now Calais and Cam. On Case, on Gronkowski, though you're such a ham. To the top of the conference, first place in your division, the playoff teams this year will undergo a revision. He sprang to his sleigh, looked over the possibilities with doubt. Playoff permutations that not even Boomer could figure out. But I heard him exclaim as he took off in flight, "Happy Christmas to all! We'll know a lot more after tomorrow night."
Now, what we already know is that 5 teams have clinched a playoff berth and have their sights set on Super Bowl 52, of course, in Minneapolis. So it's the perfect time for our second annual NFL Today Holiday Team Swap. Now, each of us has a gift containing a team that could win the Super Bowl, and folks will each have a turn to open our gift and either keep that gift, as a matter of fact, or that team. But here's the tricky part. Another person's team, if we like that when you open it, we could take that one. Like so if you swap someone else's team, that person gets to open the one that you're going to give up. Let me open up mine first. Go, you want to get it?
Oh, he's got a letter opener. Jesus.
No, actually, it's my ink pen.
Oh,
I know I wouldn't be too good at this.
Take your time. We got all
this
day.
thing. Yeah, I know. They got this thing too well done here. Man.
Yeah, JB.
How much time is that?
What you got over there?
Man, what are you doing, JB?
I'm trying to get all right.
The Eagles.
I have
pretty good.
The Eagles are coming. Who's next?
Yeah, I'm next. Here we go.
How do you want that? Wait, Phil, you don't want that then. You don't want to steal that.
No, I'm not. I'm going to gamble.
That's pretty good.
Okay. I'm going to
like
gamble.
That, Phil. Like the idea.
See, sometimes it's work. Hey, you can't be afraid.
Right, shut up.
The Pats. So there you go.
Okay.
Wow.
Coach.
Wow.
Coach,
So,
right.
You know, home field advantage throughout.
Yes.
Right.
I'll take your Patriots.
You the Steelers. You just give us.
So I got. Okay, who's next?
That's you.
That's you.
I got to do this one now.
Yes, and then Nate.
What'd you do to this, man? You sealed it.
You know, I know that he.
I think it's a picture of Boomer. That's why I think I didn't open
No,
it.
I just hope it's Boomer's watch.
You know what? Drew Kaliski told Coach too much.
Oh, this is not bad either.
Oh, no.
I'll stick.
He had you jinxed it.
Okay.
That's something. Go ahead.
You know what?
Who's next?
Man, I like them Eagles.
Do you really?
But I'm going to go ahead and let me get that up off you, man. I'm going to go with these Pats, baby.
Guess what?
Tom Brady don't let me
Coach,
down.
now you got to open your ears in. Let's see.
I guarantee you're going to lose that.
Jeez,
We'll see.
That looks pretty good on you, Phil.
Yeah,
What you got, Coach?
What do you have there?
Oh, boy, this is, I tell you what, I told you earlier,
The Bengals.
you don't want to play them in the playoffs.
Okay.
Stay in the AFC North.
Hold on.
See, here's the
Boomer's
deal.
studying.
I would love to take the Patriots from Nate. I know that if I take the Patriots, JB is going to take them from me and give me the Eagles.
Okay.
I think that this is the Vikings.
Okay.
That's what I think. I don't know.
We'll see.
It better be the Vikings.
It better be.
I just like how
Drew Kaliski, our producer, is not giving up any
Better be
hints.
Vikings. No, I'll take it, though. I will take it.
He's got the Rams. He's got the Rams.
No, I do not have the Rams. I have the Saints.
Oh,
Yes. Okay, JB, so what?
Hey, you know what? Only because when we did a Thursday night football game, you told me these guys have a defense that were smacking people in the mouth.
JB.
I understand that
Totally.
Wentz is out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Foles.
They can run the ball, too. And
You know what? I'll stay with this.
Coach, you sure you're okay with that?
Coach.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to ride Joe Flacco.
Okay.
Righty, big guy. I hear you. We
Stay with
all
what
like
they
the
have?
picks.
Yes.
Well, here's
All right,
the
Phil,
guy.
go ahead, Phil.
Hey,
You
here's
got
the
it.
guy that needs a Christmas gift bad. Hugh Jackson in Chicago today. Can Cleveland find a way to win their first game of the season?
I should have been patient.
We lost one of broadcasting's greats this past week when Dick Enberg passed away at the age of 82. He was a true legend in every sense of the word, and he was beloved by fans and co-workers alike. A true Renaissance man in the broadcasting world, he covered everything from the Super Bowl to Wimbledon to the World Series. And his signature, "Oh My," will forever be a part of some of the greatest moments in sports history. Jim Nantz reflects on the legacy of this broadcasting icon.
What is it about a voice that sets it apart? Is it the words that come out, somehow always feeling just right, no matter what it's describing? Or is it the tone, pitch perfect for every moment you won't soon forget? Maybe it's something else, something deeper. Maybe it's the emotion, the sentiment, the spirit of the person with the voice that sets it apart for all time.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Enberg, and welcome.
In the long prime of a 60-year career, when you heard the voice of Dick Enberg, you knew you were watching a big event.
First refrigerator to score.
From Super Bowls to Final Fours
National champion.
to Grand Slam tennis tournaments
His 14th Grand Slam.
and so much more in between. Every one of them highlighted at one point or another in the same signature way.
Three-pointer. Haynes Stewart is the 1999 U.S. Open champion. Oh, my. 1 second. The long desperation by Gavin.
Oh, my. U.S. Open champion. How does that feel?
Well, I just got a oh my from Dick Enberg. How about that?
And beyond the calls, there was the class, the grace, and the elegance of a storyteller who loved not just sports, but the people who were a part of it.
What's going on in here?
So what is it about a voice that stays with you forever? The truth is that it's everything you'll always remember, no matter how far away you get from it. Even though in the case of Dick Enberg, it will always feel close by. For all of us here at CBS, we say goodbye to a remarkable voice.
Nothing but memories here.
A true gentleman.
And this is where it all began.
And a great friend.
Oh, my.
Well, I had the great honor for working with Dick Enberg for 3 years. We got to call 2 Super Bowls, so it was just awesome to be around him. And look, those 3 years I worked with him, he taught me so much about how to be a broadcaster, about the game, but he taught me a lot off the field too. You know, I can just say this to you guys. He was a perfectionist, and Nate, you know, you're our fashion expert. Dick Enberg was always impeccably dressed from head to toe, always perfect.
You know, those 3 years, Phil, I remember my 1995 Super Bowl run. I was 38 years old. We were in the Super Bowl AFC Championship game. We won in Pittsburgh. But just walking into the room with you and him, the warmth you felt, the friendship you felt, and the iconic figure that he was with all the different sports, a special man. He gave me that board that you were looking at. It had all the little nuggets on players years later. A special man and a guy we'll all miss.
You know, in the 70s, he and Merlin Olsen formed a team that I absolutely fell in love with listening to. Is still to this day my favorite broadcasting duo of all time. And then to find out that they were going to do Super Bowl 23, the Super Bowl that I played in, gave me chills that those two guys were there the same day that I was.
As a player, I would rush home to watch the TV copy, and I would sit there with my kids and listen to his voice follow me into the end zone. He's definitely going to be missed.
There's no question that Dick Enberg modeled sustained excellence, an iconic broadcaster who did not make a telecast about himself. He certainly, to me, epitomized the expression esteeming others more highly than himself, and he never lost a common touch with a word of encouragement for everyone working a broadcast. God bless you, Dick, and the Enberg family. All right, folks, time now, and I'm sure Dick would appreciate you guys' expertise on this for the NFL Today picks delivered by FedEx. And a look at our standings shows that Coach and Boomer tied at the top with 2 weeks to go. Phil is within striking distance. And how do you word where Nate is?
Dead last.
A Christmas miracle is needed, is your
okay, so well, I'm charging hard.
Who is your lock?
Hit the wall. My lock of the week is the Philadelphia Eagles over the Oakland Raiders. The Eagles defense is going to wake up.
They get
my lock is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs over the Miami Dolphins at home. They've won 2 straight at home. This is their 3rd straight. If they do this, they lock up the AFC West, and next week's game is irrelevant. They can rest players.
I'm going 10-4 Panthers over the Bucks. They win and they're in. That is my lock.
You know, Coach, I felt so bad for you when you had to give up the Steelers in the giveaway thing. So I'm going to take the Steelers over the Texans tomorrow. I think they bounce back from that horrible loss at the hands of the New England Patriots, and look for Ben Roethlisberger to have a huge day even without Antonio Brown.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Max Rubin about my upset or my lock, but I'll go on past that. Hey, go to NFL.com/FedEx. Cast your vote for the FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Week. All right, kickoff just a few minutes away, and we'll get you out to your game next.
The NFL Today on CBS Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
A reminder, later, Blake Bortles leads the Jags into the Bay Area to take on Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners. That comes your way, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on CBS. And you know, 40 years ago today, the Raiders and then Baltimore Colts matchup yielded one of the most memorable plays in NFL history. With time winding down, trailing by 3, the late, great Ken Stabler of Oakland dropped back, threw a pass downfield where tight end Dave Casper, nicknamed the Ghost, split to receivers, made an unbelievable catch, 42 yards. That set up the eventual game-winning field goal, game-tying field goal, that is, and the Raiders would go on to win in double overtime. The play, of course, called 91N, became immortalized as
Ghost to the Post.
Ghost to the Post, and that got us thinking. So, my guys here, some of their most memorable plays.
Well, you know, first, I love the fact that Kenny Stabler, that was on dirt. You know, it wasn't even a field. It was just complete dirt. But a play I actually was calling the game when I saw this play, and it was just physically so incredible. That's what came to my mind when we said, what is one play you remember? Aaron Rodgers against the three-man rush, looking where the line of scrimmage was, and throws an unbelievable Hail Mary into the end zone that is caught for the winning touchdown on the last play of the game. The football stayed in the air 4.9 seconds. Which is incredible. Look at him moving around. And then here's the other thing. Not that he throws it so far. Hang time. Oh, we're going to show it. And the football went in the air 77 feet. My back is hurting just watching the throw. And it came straight down. So what a play by Aaron Rodgers. One of the greatest throwers of the football in NFL history.
No doubt about it.
That like it was yesterday.
And I was there at that same game, and I was mesmerized by that throw. And
I was there too.
Yeah,
crazy.
The play that to me, and I know there's a lot of great plays, but the one that hit me the most was the AFC Championship game of 1995, played in January of 96. It was a Hail Mary by Jim Harbaugh. This was a game that we had lost in the championship game the year before. The ball was in the air. It came down. Remember, there's no instant replay this year. And I thought initially that he caught it, but all of a sudden you see the legs going, the arms going incomplete. And it's only we were going for the Super Bowl for the first time. And
were you crying there, Coach?
Oh, yeah, it was a very much.
I don't blame him, man. Going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was a pretty special time right there. Actually, it was a game that Dick Enberg actually called. Wow. You were there as well.
And, wow.
That was Super Bowl 30.
Yeah, the game for me is, it's a childhood dream. It's the one of you running a route, and it's the game-winning touchdown. And I was playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is in Seattle, and Matt Hasselbeck drops a dime, cover two, hits me right on the pylon, and then I run and I give the ball to my wife, who was sitting in the suite right there. And what made it special is that I dropped two huge plays in that game. So I was in the dumps, emotional, just like any other receiver, getting in his own head. And I remember Matt Hasselbeck coming to me and saying, hey, listen, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to need you to make a play. And I did. So it was a 60-minute redemption. It's a story I tell all young receivers. You'll drop a ball, but you'll have a chance to make it up later in the game.
I didn't realize it was supposed to be about us. You know, it was about us. I have about 10 of those. But I was actually doing a game. Wow. Merry Christmas, all you guys.
Merry Christmas to you.
I was doing a game. Super Bowl 42 for Westwood won, and I was calling the game. And I could not believe what I had just witnessed, and that is the helmet catch by David Tyree. And the reason why I say this is huge. Look at Eli Manning. He's under assault by Richard Seymour gets away from him. Just lofts the ball down the field. Rodney Harrison is covering David Tyree. And how about this catch? And it's because of who they're playing. They're playing the Patriots that are trying to go to 19-0. Think about that. Yeah. And then 4 plays later, Eli hit Plexico Burress in the end zone, and they end up winning the football game. That game in that spot against that team, in my mind, is the greatest single play I've ever seen in an NFL football game.
So I've got 2 of them. One, none of you think the catch was significant. Joe Montana to Dwight Clark. And did Joe ever acknowledge that he was trying to throw this one away?
Oh, never did. No, he was throwing it.
He keeps it going. Take a look at that. That's all-time great.
That's an all-time great catch. And again, it's because of the significance of the game and what the meaning of the game was to the winners. So that's why I picked mine.
The context, right.
Yes.
The immaculate reception. You got to talk about the immaculate reception. One of the great plays in the world. Right here, you're going to see Terry Bradshaw against the Raiders, divisional game right there in 1972. The ball gets bounced back, and before the ball hits the ground, right there, Franco picks it up. It does not hit the ground, right?
Nope, it did not.
Right there, remember, there's no replay back then either. So,
no indisputable evidence.
Man, you Steelers are lucky. You guys are like the New England Patriots of the 2000s.
Hey, Ricky, you know, only Bill Cowher knows I'm in the Hall of Fame, you know, for a play.
Yeah. What play?
James Wilder, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He's at the 55.
He got tackled where? He got tackled where?
At 65.
At 55 or 60.